Welcome everyone to another episode of our Future of Climate Action series. Our focus is Go Big. The idea is how to 10x your people, your enthusiasm, and your impact for your initiative in 3 easy steps. And the way that we're talking about doing this is by hosting a climate action challenge. So in the past, we've talked about participating in a challenge, but now we're taking it up a level. What if you hosted your own? This is our Future of Climate Action series, a little bit about Green Team Academy. Our mission is to empower everyday people to be the change. We host the annual International Climate Action Challenge, where we help teams launch and expand their eco initiatives in 90 days. And in our last challenge in 2022, we had over 100 teams in 30 countries. That doesn't count the GE Healthcare, what they did in theirs. In our challenge, our teams planted hundreds of thousands of trees, started community gardens, diverted waste, created all these connections, and did so much more. Our next challenge kicks off on August 1st, 2024. Before that, we'll have our Earth Week Summit around April 22nd with a youth focus. And December 14th, we're going to have one more session. Next week will just be an open forum. We'd love to just anybody who's on, wants to talk about whatever you're doing, anything that you're thinking about. December 14th at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, we'll have one more session. And we are a nonprofit. We rely on contributions from our community to keep us going. So we've got 3 very cool fundraisers coming up as part of our Healing Arts series. So December 19th, the Magnifam Jamley, that's my nephew Bo there. His dad, my brother, is a musician. So it's one of these families of musicians. I think you'll really enjoy watching that. On December 28th, we have Reflect and Renew, which is coming to the end of the year, giving you a chance to make peace with whatever happened in 2023, journaling about it. Jen's going to be leading the Reiki part, and we have a singing bowl maestra who will be helping us with the accompaniment there. And then January 6th, Lisa McMurdy, who also goes by the Abundance Queen, is hosting a Create Your Own Vision Board workshop for us. And these are all online, so anybody can join. We'll send you more info about that, but we appreciate you participating or inviting others to join. All right, so the topic is Go Big. And this idea of being able to really 10x whatever you did last time, whatever your group is doing now, imagine if you could 10 times that. And maybe it's not as hard as you think to actually host a climate action challenge. But first, let's start with why. One of the most beautifully written reasons I've ever found is in this 2019 UN report by the IPBES, which is basically the biodiversity equivalent of the IPCC. And this is what they said. The overwhelming evidence of the IPBES global assessment from a wide range of different fields of knowledge presents an ominous picture. The health of ecosystems on which we and all other species depend is deteriorating more rapidly than ever. We are eroding the very foundations of our economies, livelihoods, food security, health, and quality of life worldwide. It is not too late to make a difference, but only if we start now at every level, from local to global. Through transformative change, nature can still be conserved, restored, and used sustainably. This is also key to meeting most other global goals. By transformative change, we mean a fundamental, system-wide reorganization across technological, economic, and social factors, including paradigms, goals, and values. By its very nature, transformative change can expect opposition from those with interests vested in the status quo, but also that such opposition can be overcome for the broader public good. I feel like I should have actually sent like a warning before I gave you that message to hit you with that. Of course we all know it, right? The teachings of Joanna Macy tell us that staying with that suffering, being a friend to that suffering and that pain is going to break our hearts, But running away is what is going to cause addiction. And that's my viewpoint with everything I've done with wellness coaching, is when we run away from our problems, we have to fill that hole with something else. But if we can just go ahead and let our hearts break open, then we can contain the whole universe, at least the whole planet, as we're doing right now, as we are together in this thing, holding hands around the world, from Uganda to Norway to the Philippines, the US, of course, we have across the country, Florida and California and Colorado. One of the first things that we have to really look at is, what are the pains? What are the obstacles that prevent us? We have these good ideas. We know what needs to be done. Everything around regenerative agriculture and composting and going to renewable, planting more trees, like we know what needs to be done, but what are the things that we run into when we're trying to, we have a solution right at hand, we're trying to get people engaged. Maybe you don't have enough people on your team. There's not enough sense of urgency. Oh, I got to take my kids to soccer. I got to paint my bathroom. There's these other things, and people are just not getting this sense of urgency that you have. And in the end, you're just not making the kind of impact that you know really needs to happen. So you're seeing like that minor changes are happening. It's like charging 10 cents if you use a plastic bag at the grocery store, but yet everything else you buy is also wrapped in plastic. So those minor changes, when you know that major change is absolutely necessary. In a dire situation, when somebody is not responsive, what would you do? What is called for when you see them, they're down, they're not responsive? You do C.P.R, right? So that's what I want to tell you, is to think about this mnemonic, the C.P.R, as a way to understand, first, what do you want to do? The first thing that we want is change. We don't want just a little change. We want massive engagement at all levels. That's our dream, right? Is that everybody else in the world wakes up thinking about these same things the way that we do. We want massive engagement from the top to the bottom, from all of our partners, at every single level. And so we want that transformative change. We really want cultural transformation, so that the way that we think about things, the way that we act, is completely different. So that's the C, is change. We want a massive change. The P is it's time to try something new. One of the ways that you can do that, always remember this word pilot. If you're trying to get somebody to do something new and you say, okay, we're going to completely change how we do things, people are going to be like, we can't because blah, blah, blah. But if you say, you know what, we just want to pilot something, it's a much more tenable suggestion. It's easier to get buy-in. People know that pilots, you're going to find things that don't work. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You're not trying to sell something like you really know what's going to happen, because you don't. So you're just like, let's just try this thing. Let's see if it could be better. And let's get something going quickly. So that's what you get with a pilot. And then the R is results. So the C.P.R, you want change, you want to pilot something, and you want results. So you want this, and this is urgent. C.P.R is an urgent response. Every minute counts. So how are you going to do it? The first thing is that you are going to commit. You decide to do it. A lot of the things that I've learned have come out of wellness coaching. For me, myself, there's been times where my health has gone down the tube. To just tell yourself, oh, I'll do a little bit of this tomorrow, I'll do a little bit of that tomorrow. Like, it generally doesn't work. People generally flourish when they commit to something bigger. Okay, I'm going to run a 10K at the end of the year. I'm going to try a plant-based diet for 10 days with this group. So making some kind of a commitment and deciding to do it with that kind of group support is how that change that others see. We want the change. First, you have to have this really serious, this big commitment. And then you set the dates and you announce it. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of our challenges and how this worked. But when you say this date, we're going to do this challenge, it forces you to make things, to figure it out, whether it's going to happen or not. I was speaking to an event coordinator the other day, and she said, yeah, my husband comes home and says, oh, our supplier said the things are going to arrive late and they're going to cost more. But as event coordinators, we can never delay our delivery. We set a date, we have to make it happen. When you commit, you decide to do something, you're going to make it happen. Are you ready? No. Are you anxious? Do you feel like you're confident, like you have the people? No, none of that is in place yet. You're just going to make the commitment. You're going to trust the process of life, and you're just going to go with it. The P in the C.P.R is to plan. So that's when you begin that planning process. Oh my God, we got to do this. We got to figure this thing out. What you want to think of is when you're running your own challenge, it's like running a group coaching program. It's like running a college semester. When you're doing it, you're going to need to have your goals, your purpose. What do we want to see come out of this thing? Who are our strategic sponsors? What's our marketing plan, our registration plan? Where are we going to have our course materials? How are our teams going to engage with themselves and with each other? When they do an assignment, who's going to review it? Are we going to have coaches? We'll have weekly online meetings, impact summit, and figure out when people finish, what do we have there to catch them when they come out the other end? And then thinking of this as an annual plan. We're going to be offering some sessions starting in January where we're going to be helping people get through this whole process. So you don't have to go that alone. And then the R is that you run it. So this is the fun part. So you're going to run the marketing events leading up to the challenge. One year we did Take the Challenge Africa, Take the Challenge Denver, Take the Challenge Philippines. I was on, radio shows with Dan Diaz in the Philippines, and we were doing stuff with Earth Day Africa. So you can't assume that people are just going to find out about it and sign up on their own. You need to build the buzz. And then you're going to do the kickoff and run your weekly meetings. Your teams are going to be doing a day of action. In some cases, this is synchronized. In other cases, it's whenever they do it. So this is really your teams are doing the work here. You're getting the impact reports back from your teams. Your teams are creating 1-minute videos of what they did. And then you do your impact summit, highlighting your teams and all the results that they had. So your C.P.R, so you have this dire situation, you know that you need transformative change. You want to run a pilot, you want to get results. So the way to do it is to commit, get a small group of people, get whatever approvals you need, get something going, and start planning it, run it. And because it's a pilot, things won't work exactly. Then next year you'll come back and do something better. So if you're ready to give C.P.R to your initiative, then starting in January, we're going to have our Host Your Own Challenge group coaching sessions. So for each team that participates, we have a team price. We haven't set up the actual registration for that yet, but everybody that joins will get a digital copy of the Climate Action Challenge book, workbook, and this blueprint guide that we developed that is actually what GE used for their challenge in 2022. There'll be 3 weekly group coaching sessions, as well as a Ask Me Anything group for 30 days. And then if you want more support beyond that, we have another more intensive kind of coaching consulting that we can do. Now I want to take a little bit different approach and walk you through some of the stuff that we have experienced as when we did our challenges, and how these lessons that I just condensed for you, how this all kind of came about. In 2018, that's when I started Green Team Academy, started doing the podcast. And 2019, this is so funny, that commit idea. I was just thinking about this yesterday. I was in a meeting in Denver, and it was the week before the Denver Sustainable Summit. And I was in a meeting and people were saying, we've got so many neighborhoods interested in starting a sustainable neighborhood, but we can only take 2 new neighborhoods per year in our sustainable neighborhood program at the time. And Lakewood was also saying the same thing. We have this great program, but we can only take 2 new neighborhoods per year. And there's dozens, if not hundreds of neighborhoods in Denver and Lakewood. And I was like, this is nuts. If people want to start something, why are we making it so difficult for them? I just made this stuff up, which is like one of your best skills is just making stuff up. But so I said, okay, I stayed late after that meeting and I said, what if I ran a Green Team Accelerator lab? Would you help me get the word out? And would you maybe help support me? And they said, we can definitely help you get the word out. And I was able to get a table at the Denver Sustainable Summit. Sustainable, those like the mayors, blah, blah, blah. And within that week, I just made stuff up. We had a sign up sheet. I created a form on the website. We got 22 teams that signed up to enter this Denver Green Team Accelerator Lab. We had faith communities. We had a high school girl who wanted to start a green team at her school. We had a couple that was working on a community garden. And we brought in these different sponsors. We had EcoCycle, who's our local recycling nonprofit, with the city of Denver, city of Lakewood, EcoCycle, and a few other organizations that came in as mentors and ran this accelerator lab starting the end of January. So I made it up. The end of November, the Sustainable Summit was December 7th, something like that. We got people signed up and just started it. And what I found through that pilot project was the idea of working for a year and meeting monthly, it didn't work. People didn't do anything. There was a few exceptions, but for the most part, it didn't have the urgency. It didn't have the focus. We didn't have a curriculum. What we did really was we started doing field trips. We did a field trip to EcoCycle. We did a field trip to the Revision Food Co-op, where a Latino group started this, where they're growing their own food in containers in this big farm in a food desert in Denver. So we figured out some things that kind of worked, but our teams alone really did not have much impact. I don't think I would have been able to figure out the Climate Action Challenge had I not done that thing. So that was really the first one. So then the next one was in 2020. During the pandemic, I got enrolled in this program that was like write your own book and publish it in 6 months. So did that first 6 months of 2020. And the subtitle of the Climate Action Challenge says a proven plan for launching your eco initiative in 90 days. And I was thinking, is it really proven, Joan? Who's proved it? And so I decided when we did the Earth Week Summit, I said, you know what, we're going to do a Climate Action Challenge starting in August. And so Nan signed up as one of the mentors. We had 70 people that signed up as coaches and ambassadors, is what we called them, as people that would promote to their network. So we had those 70 people that signed up. We had, I think it was like 86 teams from 20 some countries that signed up, and it went pretty well. Our teams planted 30,000 trees, something like that, started community gardens, did all kinds of things around the world. At the end of that challenge, and some of these people that have been with me for a while will remember, I said, you guys, I'm tired. It works. Go do it yourself. I'm going to go spend time on the farm with goats. Do you remember that, Heather?
I do.
It was COVID. It was hard to find farms to go hang out with a bunch of people. But a lot of people were like, but we want to do it again. And Joan, we liked your materials and everything, but we really loved meeting the people and forming the friendships with everyone. And that has really sustained us. That's what we really value, is making friends with people around the world who really care about this stuff. In May of 2021, we got our nonprofit status as a project of social good fund. We ran the challenge again in 2021, had similar, if not better, results. And then at the end of that time, we did a director change. Okay, so then I need to tell you that in August, right as we're getting ready to start our challenge, we got a message from Priya Achabar, who was with GE at the time, who said, I read your book. I'd like to order 40 copies. And I'm like, wait, you're with GE and you want 40 copies? Let's get on a call here. So that was August that she just read the book. We started coordinating. Priya actually left, kind of turned us over to Ben Turnbull. We worked with Ben and their employee resource group, which is the Green Team Network. So this is not like the corporate sustainability department. This is the employee group. They had a little bit of money in their budget and they said, we've got a little bit still left in our 2021 budget. Yes, we will pay you to help us get a challenge going for GE and we'll announce it on Earth Day. So they did. They announced that they were going to host their challenge. So that was the commit part, right? And then between the end of the year and when we started doing the coaching with them in January, I wrote something called the Blueprint Guide. And so this is the guide for how to host your own challenge, the why and how, all detailed and samples of how we have done it. What we found was that as a corporation, that each place has its own regulation. So we might use Zoom and Google Drive and they might use Teams. Figuring out all that software, how to get it set up, they got that done, no problem, launched their challenge, and were able to have similar results to us. I should have pulled those up. We have a nice article about that. Jen, I want to hand it over to you because you sat in on those meetings at that time. Do you want to pop in and talk a little bit about how things went with you?
I would love to, Joan. Yeah. So actually, I completely attribute getting through the 2022 challenge to sitting in on that blueprint with GE. I
Because just to clarify, Jen had never been a challenger. She hadn't really gone through the challenge. So she started as director and was like, okay, let's figure this out.
that was the commit part. I committed to it. But yeah, no, so I did the Accelerator program, the weekend Accelerator. So when the opportunity arose, I totally jumped on it and didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But right as I got into the director position was when the consultation for GE started. So I got to sit in on the training of the process and everything. And it was completely inspirational. Ben, the gentleman who took over and started running it, he was my hero throughout that process. Honestly, he was just so into it and he like was so precise with everything. And I was like, man, if this guy can do it, I can totally do it. So I took the resources and the materials and the blueprint resources, most of all, into the 2022 challenge. And like Joan mentioned before, like, do you ever feel prepared for something big that you're taking on? Probably not. I was terrified and didn't feel like I had any idea what I was doing. But I think there were 100 registered teams that signed up for the challenge. But I was actually able to successfully complete a challenge, run teams through, help them learn like how to be a leader in their community. And it was incredible. It was such an amazing feeling to actually come out the other side, seeing that I could do it. But I do truly think that without the priming of that blueprint guide, I don't know that I feel like I would have been flailing a little bit more. So honestly, if anybody is interested in bringing these resources to their community, please know that you do not need to be an expert. You can literally take the resources, go through the training, and launch a climate action challenge of your own. I'm not going to say it's super easy because it is work. And anybody who has tried to start their own project or run an organization will know that it's not going to be like something that is going to be passive and just flow. It is work, but it's completely fulfilling and 100%, 120% possible.
Awesome. Yeah. And like that, you have somebody like Jen who's like a little stubborn. She's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, I can help you. No, I got it. I got it. And they did. It was great. That so that was what I was saying is if you think of it as a like a college semester or a group coaching program, but it has a curriculum. And that's the difference of when I did the Green Team Accelerator Lab, the year-long thing, meeting every month, doing tours, things like that. We didn't have this focus. By 90 days from now, you're going to report your impact. You are going to hold a day of action. You're going to create a list of 100 partners. You're going to create a 1-minute video that says what you did. It's awesome. Most people Honestly, like all the stuff that we tell people in the beginning, they usually ignore it. They try stuff, they don't have results. And then it's that thing, if all else fails, read the directions. They'll try and hold events, nobody will show up, and they'll realize, oh wait, I don't have any partners. Maybe I should have done these things that we were supposed to do or that we were recommended to do. And then when they start doing those, they actually start having those results. But that 90-day pressure cooker makes it exciting and gets people ready. Then by the end, they come out with this 1-minute video that says, here, we're the whatever team, and you can find us on Instagram, and here's some pictures of us planting trees. We planted 100 trees in 90 days, and we now want to plant 10,000. Like, it's believable when you have that kind of focus and are actually able to jump in. In 2023, we took a little bit different turn where Jen and I were both on break. Jen went to Africa and met some of our teams, did some other stuff, but also we did not commit to doing the challenge. And guess what? We didn't do the International Climate Action Challenge in 2023. We didn't make the commitment. It didn't happen. And sometimes you might commit to something you're not able to follow through. But if you never commit to it and you say this might happen, it's probably not going to. The good news is that GE Healthcare took the same challenge materials and they did a shorter version, a 45-day version, which they called the Jumpstart Challenge. And so all those things that we've been figuring out as far as how to license the digital books and workbooks to people, how to support them with showing up at their events as like a featured speaker, an inspirational speaker, like whatever you need, those things. Luckily, GE has been just such a great partner with us that has helped us go big, which would be a great way to end this part of the session and hear from some folks that are on the call here. But yeah, we will have those sessions coming up in January where we can help you really at any level that you need.